That's why I'm bored. I'm like, well, yeah, well, stay bored then. I did not have a passion for this when I started.
YouTube?
Yeah.
When your friend says it, or when someone like you see on YouTube says it, like you listen. I'm like,
don't try to shortcut hard work.
yes.
People are more willing to help you than you realize if you're specific.
Yes.
Because I need to know that what I'm doing aligns with the values that are most important for me.
I heard this quote. Let me know what you think about this. It's ABCD. Always be connecting dots.
Go look for it, and if you look hard enough, you'll find it.
Welcome back to the Catch Up Podcast with your host, Bryan Sumardi, the #1 podcast to feed you curiosity. And we're going to get right into it. Here's my guest, my homie, Muoki Musao.
Yeah.
That's how I say it.
Muoki.
Muoki.
Yeah.
Muoki Musao. I said the last name right?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right, cool.
Yeah.
Real estate agent in the Virginia area. Are you licensed in Maryland too, DC?
Virginia, I've been, I submitted all my stuff to Maryland, and, I'm just waiting to hear back from them. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, Maryland takes forever.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I mean, cool. I mean, if anything else, is there anything else we got to know?
I don't know. I mean, look, I'm just a regular dude who found myself in real estate, found myself in social media, found myself in marketing. I'm not an overthinker. I'm an overdoer, and then I just live with the consequences. And it's just really fun to. I mean, and that's how I ended up connecting with you.
Yeah.
Was like through. And even so, I'll tell you the backstory. How I got connected with you was through Chris Perry, the Chris Perry real estate.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't even know the event. It was just his Instagram.
I was on it.
Yeah, I don't even know how. See what I'm saying, man?
Okay.
I don't think about this kind of stuff. So I ended up, and how I got connected with Chris Perry was I started focusing more on Instagram.
Okay.
But I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Hey.
So I was like, okay, let me find somebody, see what that I could see what they're doing and say, okay, let me at least kind of like a North Star.
Yeah.
And that's how I found Chris Perry.
Right.
So, and then out of that is then I found and then like, what is it? A year later, here I am. You see what I mean? So, that's been a lot of how I ended up in real estate, and even how I ended up on social media was really just, just being curious and not being afraid to try new things, and then just, believe that, hard work and really just luck, will kind of even things out.
Yeah. Everything will just fall into place.
Yeah. Eventually.
Yeah.
That's the hope,
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. To give you my backstory, I don't know if you know it. It's like I grew up in high school in the Montgomery County area, Silver Spring. I kind of in my time during high school, there was a lot of gangs around me. So you kind of had to walk on eggshells to kind of figure out how to maneuver through life. I found myself, I ended up getting out of a lot of bad things, worked at a restaurant at 16, worked my way up to be a manager. And I was like, I could do more than this. And I had two of my buddies who were my neighborhood friends. One ended up going to the Army, another one went to the Marines. And I went to the office, the recruiting office. I joined the Marine Corps, but without the intent to being a full Marine and just doing it for a career. I did it because I wanted to be a personal trainer. I've always wanted to be an athlete all my life. But me being 5'3", 5'4", and I was maybe probably at that time 135, ain't no athlete.
that's real small.
Exactly. So what I figured is all right, if I can't be an athlete, what's the next best thing? Coaching athletes.
Yeah.
So I went to the reserves, came back home, became a personal trainer, and from there I was now the military or the Marine trainer. And I had a lot more respect from people who were 30 when I was only 19 at the time.
Oh, that's crazy, bro.
That's all to say, as soon as I got out of the Marine Corps in 2018, I started my own personal training business for 2 years. Pandemic happened.
Yeah, dog.
Gyms were closed. I fell into becoming a loan officer.
Yep. You just fall into it, man. I mean, you gotta, and you know, it's crazy the journey that you take, or journey that we all take, and it's I learned thing is for me, I learned this like way late in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 34, and it might seem like, oh man, Moki, you're still a young guy. Well, yeah, it's a young guy, but if you've been through a lot of things in life, you know, age is just a number.
Experience
right?
is everything.
You know what I mean? So it's like you could the job you do is a job, but the strengths that you have, if you can, all you gotta do is just find the places that your strengths work, right?
Yeah.
So whether it's personal training or a loan officer, someone will be like, man, that, you know, this guy was a Marine, then he became a personal trainer. Okay, there's a little bit of like a connection there, and then he becomes a loan officer. It's like, man, that don't make no sense.
Yeah. But funny thing now, my best clients happen to be fitness and military.
You see, you'll never know, right? And also talk about your strengths, man. Like you went from coaching people in their fitness journey to coaching people in their finance journey. So, but it's that strength, right?
Yeah.
So your strengths are what are driving where you end up.
Yeah.
And if people can figure, and for me, what I'm trying to do is, you know, really, you know, internalize that and be intentional about that with myself, is like, what are my strengths? And then always make sure that I am in, whether spaces or occupations or relationships, that like are maximizing my strengths. And if they're not, then I gotta make some changes.
I heard this quote. Let me know what you think about this. It's ABCD. Always be connecting dots.
Yeah. That, you know, there are a lot of ways that you could connect dots. I think part of the way that I understand that, and what comes to mind, is just connecting the dots about, you know, who you are and what you're about.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, because if you can figure that out, then, you know, then you have focus. Mm-hmm. You know, and what I think makes people trip up a lot is a lack of focus, because they don't know who they haven't connected dots about who they are in life, and they haven't accepted themselves. So you make those connections, and then I think you'll be okay, because you also got to connect the dots. When you connect the dots with who you are, then you can be consistent in whatever area of life that you have, so that Bryan or Moki here at this couch is the same. When Bryan goes out and he's doing something else, it's the same guy. When Moki goes out and he's doing something else, it's the same guy. And somebody in any area of my life will see me in any other area and be like, Moki's consistent. That's the same dude.
Yeah.
And if you can figure that out, that becomes integrity.
Yeah.
Or you become an asshole, because if
discrepancies.
You see what I mean? If you're connecting the dots, and like you're moving in a way that is not empowering to yourself or to other people, then that also is connecting the dots. And if that's the kind of person that you want to be, then, you know, like, then you just got to live with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I like to think of it the other way, to connect the dots with who I am, so that I am just a consistent, as consistent as possible individual in any area of my life. But it's a constant work,
growth,
you know, and progress, always a work in progress. It's never finished, always in beta mode, you know, but that's how life goes. And anyone who is, you know, be a learner, kind of being a student of life, anyone who says that I've finished, I've connected all the dots, that's somebody who is no longer in beta testing.
Yeah.
They're in the trash can.
Yeah, I think I got two things off of that. I had a conversation last night with like a mentee. I brought this up. Most people stop learning, or most people, I don't know how other way to say it, but like kill themselves at 25 because they get complacent in their lives and they choose to be set in their ways. Like, you remember those times when you were younger, like, man, those old heads be saying, like, back in my day, this and that, and like, they're in third. But you're like, but like, as you're growing up, like, this is all you know. Like you're not exposed to like working in the factories like my parents did. Like I knew my parents. I had my brother. We worked in a factory in Baltimore. So like I don't know that life, but then I'm like, because of that, and now I understand what they did. I understand, like, I'm very grateful for the opportunities that are like presented to me to this day. And the question I want to say too, it sounds like you're very like purposeful, like you're big on finding purpose. That's how you figure out who you are. Would you say that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, purpose is important. I need to know that what I'm doing aligns with the values that are most important for me.
Yeah.
I think that's mainly what it is for me.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. Let's say resourcefulness is something that I think is a value that I really cherish. So when I encounter a very like sort of trivial example, when let's say a year and a half ago, our dryer broke at home, and I don't want to pay nobody to whatever, but also at the same time, the dryer broke when we had clothes in the washing machine. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
Moldy.
So I'm like, all right. So what do I do? So so the process of figuring out how to fix a dryer for me was purposeful, because it was like, okay, I'm putting things together, I'm learning something new. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but if I can figure this out, then why am I doing that? Because to me, when I'm being resourceful like that, I'm helping my family.
Yep.
I'm helping people that I care about. So that's how it's purposeful. And then man, I even ended up finding a neighbor, my mom's old neighbor. I think it was my mom's old neighbor that had a dryer in their garage that they just weren't using.
Oh wow!
So now, and I fixed the dryers. So I fixed the dryer, and now we got an extra dryer in the garage. So we just moved. The garage moved from my mom's neighbor's. The dryer moved from my mom's neighbor's garage, and now it's sitting in our garage because I fixed. But you see how you see what I mean. So now I'm I hear that thing like our dryer right now. I mean I hear it every once in a while, and I'm just like, man, this thing's gonna break at like any time. So I'm just waiting for that thing to like stop working, and I'll just use the other one. But anyways, that's the point, is the resourcefulness. So that's a value. So for me, it's purposeful.
Yeah.
And then I take that and I could use it in much bigger areas in life, or even in the work that I do. Even speaking of the work I do, I work now mainly in marketing, in real estate marketing, because that's where I've found more alignment in the work I was doing and the values that are important for me. Like it resonated more than strictly doing sales, strictly sticking, doing the like. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Spending a day in a car going to houses and whatever, like that is not for me. Like I don't get any, and even if like closing deals does not. Getting the 10,000, 24,000, like those big, whatever, like that. Okay, that's fine, but so that's why I realized like that just was not. It just didn't align with me, so I was not feeling purposeful, even though I was making big checks, right?
Yeah.
So I had to move to marketing, and that's because it's the work that I do here. For me, is like I feel my values are like resonating when I do this work. So that's how I understand purpose.
Okay. Well, quick question on the dryer. A question that I have, I think, because I feel like I attract a lot of men who are like growing up or coming of age. The fact that you had to go to your neighbor's house and that vulnerability of like asking for help, how do you feel about that? Like, do you even see that as a issue at all, or it was just like I needed to get it done, so I figured out what I needed to do. I had to ask people for help. Yeah. But I feel like most people like my age, they even though they know they need help, they don't even ask.
Yeah. Well, asking for help is something that, I mean, for sure there is a vulnerability there. But also, I think it's just not a big deal, especially if you just are specific with what you need help with. Like if, you know, and that's one thing that's important. It's also a very important in relationships. So if you got a a little shoddy, you know what I mean? Like if you got to make sure that you're specific with what you want them to do for you.
Yeah.
Or how you want them to help you, because and it was so asking for help from me. One of the things I've learned is people are more willing to help you than you realize if you're specific.
Yes.
Because when you're specific in what you ask for, people will they actually start problem solving like immediately. If I ask you, hey, Bryan, I'm trying to start this podcast, man, and I lost my wireless microphone, man. Do you have one? Or can I borrow yours or something like that?
Yeah.
In your mind, like you're gonna start solving the problem like instantly, because it's you can identify, like you can literally see yourself either letting me borrow this, or if you don't, and this was crazy, if they can't help you, they're gonna start actually solving the problem for you in their head of how someone else or something else can be a solution. So they may not give you they may not be the solution, but they're gonna actually start thinking about, okay, what could the solution be? So so that's why for me I don't have a problem asking, because and also people, I think it's also just a way that you talk about, like just hang on resourcefulness, just because that's the one that came to mind, or industry, which is kind of similar. I really enjoy creating opportunities for people to be resourceful, or to realize that they're resourceful, or to realize that to find some industry, or to allow them to be creative.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem asking for help, but you just got to be specific. I've been married for 6 years now, and that's one thing I'm learning in this relationship. This relationship is, if you want help, and also. When people want help, what they end up doing instead is complaining about the problem, right?
Yes.
So the for me, it's like if something bothers me, or there's something that's like an obstacle, I find myself like, man, like damn, like why is this, or da 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 da, and then I ask myself, okay, what would I need for this to be fixed, or this not to be a problem? Mm-hmm. And then once I can identify that, then I go to my wife with that piece, because all the other shit is in my head, and and maybe I still complain, but I don't bring that to the conversation. I don't bring that to the relationship, because once the problem is fixed, or the problem is being fixed, then the complaint goes away.
Yeah.
So that's how I understand it.
That is great. Like, to think of it, to make sense to me, well, like the biggest takeaway is like stop complaining and find clarity first. You don't even need to stop complaining. I think complaining, I think, is also a way that it was probably it's a very easy way for people to be vulnerable, because if you're complaining, like you're you may not look at it, you may not think of it this way, but you're expressing powerlessness. Yeah, actually, you know what? So my girlfriend, she's a babysitter, and she sends me videos of the babies, and like little baby Leaf is his name. Like, he's a crybaby, always crying, but then like he can't talk, he can't express himself. He doesn't. He's only like 10 months. If you can't speak, or you haven't developed yourself enough, you do what you can. Yeah. Cry. Yeah. And we're all, I think that's just I think complaining is, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I think we should do it, because even with kids, I got a 4-year-old son, and, he complained. Yesterday we went to the grocery store, and, he wanted a balloon. And I said to him, what did I say to him? We had just
we had just come from somewhere. Oh, we had just gotten him cupcakes from Trader Joe's. So we just so you wanted a balloon. So we went to Trader Joe's, then we went to Giant, and then at Giant he wants a balloon. But I'm like, buddy, remember you got the cupcakes. So you know, he's like, yeah, okay, whatever. So then we're checking out, and then you know he wants like I think it was like a ring pop or something. Okay. And I'm like, buddy, remember, you know, we just had the cupcakes, so you get one thing, and like that's it.
Yeah.
And like he really struggled because this is his second time in like the span of like 15 minutes that he's been
want something else.
He's been rejected.
Oh, okay.
You know, his request has been rejected. And this is the thing about requests. Everyone, when you make a request, you have to live with the fact that the person can say no.
Yes.
Right? So that's something you got to live with. So for him, he's just like, I can't do it. So, but he really, so he struggled. And I mean, from checkout, you know, at the checkout, he was struggling. We're walking out the store and he's struggling. You know, he's disappointed. He's like, but I want. And then, you know, we get to the car. And one thing I just recognized is he hasn't eaten. So I'm like, buddy, you know, you got to finish your food. You know, like you just had a cupcake and you have not had like some like
food.
So then I give him he had one of those smoothies like for kids, like the small little smoothie bowls. No, it's they're like actual like bottle. It's like one of these organic kind.
Oh, like the Lodenins.
Yeah. But way more like way less sugar. So
okay.
So like you know he was like, so I gave it to him. I actually didn't realize it until just now, but I gave it to him because I told him that he needs to eat something else, but he requested for the smoothie instead. Yeah. And I gave him what he wanted. This dude took literally like a third of a sip. And he was like, I'm better now. Wow. Literally, like instantly, not even think about it this way until now. But it's because by doing that, I gave him something he wanted. Yeah. Because 2 times before that, I didn't give him what he wanted.
Okay, he just wanted like a win.
He just wanted something, yeah. And he got that and he was totally fine. Bro, I'm talking like literally the rest of the day, no problems.
Chill.
You see, so, but he had to get the complaining out. That couldn't have happened without, you got to get it out, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you got to, you know, if you got to scream in the car if you have to, like, you know, like allow yourself to, you know, allow yourself to like feel like the powerlessness. Like, now you know what, this sucks. Like, if I just read a story right now. You know, my friend just got a friend of mine just got some really bad news with his through his job, and that's not easy, bro. Yeah. You know, like so like what is the solution to that? Obviously, like figure out the job situation, but like that's not easy. Yeah. But to get the clarity to do that, you gotta fix the jumble mess that comes out of that. Right. The mind vomit, the word vomit, the emotion, the dump, all that. You gotta get all of that out, and then the clarity comes. Like, you know, like in exercising, you gotta warm up. Yeah. Before you actually
go heavy, go hard.
You know, because it's not just physical; it's also mental. Like once you're warm and hot and ready, then you can. Yeah. Then you can focus. With emotions, once you get it out, then you can focus. But if you don't, imagine trying to look for, let's talk about relationships. So imagine, you know, you got a real problem at home, you know, with your girlfriend, or even me with my wife, and it affects me, or it affects her. And I say, okay, well, what do you want? Muoki, I need you to, but if I haven't attended to the fact that she's frustrated, or that I'm frustrated, I can fix the problem, but the hurt is still there. Yeah. You gotta, once you can say, you know what, like this made me feel like this, and like da-da-da-da, and once you give them the space to like realize that they can be like themselves, their full selves, and be vulnerable like that. Yeah. Like I said, a complaint is an expression of powerlessness, and if someone can really lay that out there and know that they're going to be accepted, even if it's just be like they can accept themselves. Right. Once they figure that, if they know that, it actually empowers them. They're like, okay, now we can solve the problem. Yeah. Just like my son, once he gets it all out of him, when the win comes, then he has the clarity of mind to like actually appreciate when the problem is solved. But you'll never know the problem is solved if you can't even see clearly.
Okay, I think that's a great segue. So if we go into like marketing, that's something that I've always thought about. And here's an example. I was at a Phil Gertis workshop on Tuesday, I believe, and he made this comment. He was like, "Everybody here who's an agent, raise your hand." Cool, everybody raise their hand. He said, "How would you like to sell a $5 million house in a neighborhood that you really like are looking after?" Everyone still raise their hand. That's great. That's big money. And then, okay, how many of you guys are willing to door knock that entire neighborhood for a month so you meet everybody in that neighborhood so you can get that listing, so you can find someone who's willing to like buy that house because now you have insight of that area? Everybody dropped their hands. It's like, one, me figuring out how bad do people really want it, and then really figuring out what your son did, learning how to ask for something and then dealing with the no.
Yeah.
So like with marketing, I believe like we want to help whoever's our audience is, and like, hey, if you want to buy a house, I'm here to help, versus I'm gonna sell you this house, blah blah blah, or I don't know, for workout, I'm gonna help you lose weight, but then you have to get to the bottom of it, like, why do you want to lose weight?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, with rejection, right? People, if I tell someone, hey, I can, I know you're looking to buy a house, I can help you. Or, I know you're looking to sell a house, I can help you. Or if it's an agent or someone who's saying, look, your social media is terrible, it's garbage, I can help you.
Yeah.
If they say no, they're rejecting my offer to help, not me.
Right.
So,
or would you say they were rejecting you and not the offer to help?
Not at all.
Really?
They don't know me. And even if they did, who cares?
Yeah.
Because I'm not asking you to accept me. I'm asking you, like, do you want help from this thing that can help you?
Yeah.
If you don't want this thing, then I'm totally different, because I have, I'm more than the offer.
Right.
So you're rejecting me. Okay, well, they don't know me as a father. They don't know me as, a friend. They don't know me as a family man. They don't know me with my brothers. They don't know me with my wife. They don't know me with, the church that I used to go to. To reject me, they have to know all of this and reject all of that. Those are the conditions that I put on somebody rejecting me.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So because they don't know that, and they haven't had a chance to, like, the opportunity to accept or reject that, that's irrelevant. All it is the offer.
Yeah. So okay, that's how I feel too as a salesperson. The more and more I'm learning about the other half on the consumer side, it's like, for example, for me and my girlfriend, she said she always tells me certain things, but she said, you don't listen to me when I say it, but then when your friend says it, or when someone like you see on YouTube says it, like, you listen. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how that happens to you.
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
It happens both ways. Because, I mean, and honestly, and look, I don't know how old y'all are, how young we're together, but you're going to say the same thing about her at some point. So I think that's really a non-issue. It's just how it's just how we accept, information, it's how information is packaged that is sometimes either easier or not so easy to accept it. So it's really the packaging that's the difference.
Would you say it's the tone? Because she always tells me it's not what I say. It's the tone.
Tone is part of it. It's the whole thing.
Okay.
It's how you package it. It's a gift that, or the message is packaged in the tone, in the delivery, in the time, in the context, the environment. All of that, it goes into the packaging. So, and that's what with marketing. That's really all marketing is. It's delivering a message in a clear way that can be interesting and relevant to whoever you want the message to go to. So with relationships, right? why is it easier to hear it from someone, from someone on YouTube or whatever? Because the person on YouTube is, because there are no stakes.
What do you mean?
There's what if you listen to it or not, like if who, like, do they care? There's a lot of riding on a relationship, and it's not just the one, like, you hear from them and it doesn't, and you don't listen to me. Well, also, I don't live with them and I live with you. I don't, I'm never going to see this person and I see you every day. And it's not that makes it harder or makes it like a problem. It's just that there's a lot more that goes into how you internalize a message, because at the same time too, let's also be like charitable to ourselves and to our partners. There are a lot of things that we hear from other people, but we only really hear it or get it from our partners. So the equation is, it can also be flipped, right?
Yeah.
You don't listen to me unless they say it. Also, like, I really appreciate that you listen to me when I say this and not all these other people that when you hear it from.
Yeah.
So that also is true too. So, but to have that, you also got to have the other one, because also they have, there might be there's always something that creates an aha moment.
Yeah.
And sometimes it comes from our partner, sometimes it comes from something else, but I think that's really just a matter of how we accept information. It's not really big. I don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Look,
It's just an obstacle.
if it is a big deal, then you got some other problems in your relationship that
You got to figure out the clarity. What's the bigger issue?
If there's a bigger issue, man, you got to take care of that. Like that, you have other problems to deal with if that is like a constant concern.
Yeah, I mean, so you mentioned, like, I understand that. You mentioned like aha moments. Thinking about you and your YouTube, because I think that's one thing that stands out to me for you as a real estate agent. Like, once we started talking, I saw that you had a YouTube channel, and that was interesting to me because most agents are either, one, afraid to talk on camera. I personally think it's more about vulnerability and showing their like authentic self, because now they can't give out all the information that they want to give. And I think too, like, what made you go all in on YouTube, or like for having like what, you're close to 1,000 subscribers now, getting close?
I'm close to 800.
Close to 800.
Yeah.
Okay, but still,
Yeah, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I did not have a passion for this when I started.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've learned to love it as I got better.
Okay.
So I've met very few real estate agents that loved real estate when they started,
Okay.
because they sucked at it.
I mean, you don't know what you don't know.
See what I mean? And also you suck. Like, how many people love something that they truly suck at? And I'm to the point where they really want to be known for that.
Okay.
So some people can play golf and suck at it, right?
Yeah.
You see it? Yeah. But do you want to be?
Basketball.
But do you want to be known that,
suck.
hey man, this guy, like, oh, you're the guy who sucks at golf, right? Nobody, right?
Right.
So in that respect, most real estate agents I've never met that loved it when they sucked, because you don't want to be known for that.
Right.
But now they do. Now they love it, and they want to be known for real estate because they're good at it.
Okay. Yeah.
So I learned to love it. I learned to love it as I got better at it. And also it just came down to strengths. Before you got, you do photography and all that. Before I got in real estate, I was in photography. So it was something that I just really enjoyed, and I also got good at. So this is something that was interesting, where I loved it, and my love for photography is what motivated me to get better at it, and I got better at it. And so when I got into real estate, it was actually a friend of mine that was like, "Hey, Muoki, you should." It was like this really. It was kind of a crappy like open house announcement video that I made.
Okay.
I had like a little desk, and it was kind of like more like a newsroom kind of style, like announcement. Hey, I got this open house at this time, whatever. I had a green screen, and what I did was I played the virtual tour of the house that I was going to be doing the open house at.
That's cool.
Behind me as I was talking about it.
Yeah.
And a realtor friend of mine saw it, and he was like, "Yo, you got to check out these guys on YouTube and how like they literally have made their whole real estate thing like through YouTube, whatever." And at that point, I had no idea.
Okay.
I didn't even know that you could use YouTube for anything.
Yeah.
I just looked.
Videos.
I looked. That's how I used YouTube to like learn how to fix things when they were broken.
Yeah.
Because I could learn it. I could pick it up if I could see it.
Yeah.
You know? So and then I realized like, oh man, I could actually do real estate using something that I'm already good at, that I like, and I love learning about things. I love learning about how to do things better in photography, and so that's how literally it started. And so once I figured out that, you know, there really is a system to how you can grow a channel, a system to how you can get more views, more viewers, more subscribers, get people to either subscribe or to call you and all of that. Once I started learning that and seeing the traction, I was like, wow, this is fun, this is cool.
Yeah.
And that's how I started.
You saw it working. Like, so what did you learn? Or like what kind of tips would you give someone like now from your success?
Yeah, just actually make videos.
Just make videos.
I don't even know what else to say. Just make videos.
What kind of videos do you make? Would you say topic-wise?
Yeah, I did just talk about your neighborhood. You know, tell stories about either people that you've worked with, tell stories about the neighborhood that you're in. Like, why would people want to move? So I made this video like once about Herndon that just like, when I uploaded it, I was like, this is terrible. Like the thumbnail was garbage. But a dude, the guy that I helped to buy a $1 million house in Herndon, called me from that video. I was just talking about it. I was like, yeah, this is pros and cons of Herndon. You know, it's close to Reston. It's this. It has this. You can try that. You know, like if and then talk about local things, like things that happen in the town that you may not, even if you know about, you could Google it. It's still different when someone who's local there tells you about it. Where we are here, I could go online and I could see, okay, you want to be, you want to live in Bethesda, you know, like this is what it's like. But then when you tell me what it's like living in Bethesda, it's totally different. Yeah. So make videos about that, and that's basically it. Just talk about like your like, don't give, you can talk about market updates, but like literally, bro, nobody watches that shit. No one cares. No one cares about data. People want the stories that give context to the data. Right. So if you got to give a market update, you talk about like why are home prices so high? Yeah. You know, what made that happen? And then home prices so high, but this is how I got someone to buy a house at this high price point without jeopardizing their financial picture. Okay. You know, you talk about like actual people. So, and this again is not really like, it may not go viral, it may not whatever, but that's not the point. The point is just to make videos, like make content. I've across YouTube and Instagram, I've made 800 videos. Okay, so I'm not saying like, and I've never gone viral ever, but I've closed 50,000 from YouTube. So I've never gone viral, but I've made 50,000. Okay, so which one is more important? You know, and actually for some people, maybe it's going viral is more important. So if that's what you want, then you really have to just then you have to make 8,000 videos before you go viral.
Mm. Well, I'm interested in that situation, that Herndon video. So like the guy who bought the $1 million house, what was his situation? Because I find that currently in this market where we're in right now, people only buy houses if it's like a necessity. Like
they were moving here.
Yeah, from another state. Mm-hmm.
From Pennsylvania.
From Pennsylvania. Okay.
They didn't live here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not everyone that's called me and I've worked with, they've lived somewhere completely different.
Could we say that the situation, like, was it military or anything?
No, it was what was it? No, I think they actually were. I think they lived in Herndon before in the past.
Oh.
And they wanted to come back, but they had been here like 20 years, and so or at least 20 years, and things are different.
Yeah.
So
20 years ago, probably Herndon was like a farm.
Yeah, like and I think they actually wanted to live in Reston. I can't remember, but it was. But they wanted to come back and they saw the video and they just a lot of people see my videos and they actually reach out to me because they like me. I've rarely heard somebody. Well, actually, so and here's the thing: is like people will whenever they call me, like, man, I've seen a bunch of your videos and I want to X, Y, and Z. So they're watching my stuff for like months.
Do they ever tell you what they like about you?
It's just my personality. Like, I'm a nice guy, and I know what I'm talking about, and I'm always this. I always see your videos. I hear that every time. I always see your videos.
Yeah.
So that's why you got to make stuff. So, but that's the situation. They were. It was not a government job. It was not a military job. It really just was a. Relocating for whatever work that he was doing.
Right. Okay.
They just were coming. It just was moving back to the area. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, because like I think I did research on this. Like, I think the DMV is number 3 in the entire country for like the most expensive and wealthiest area.
Yeah.
Like, I think number 1 is Hawaii, then it's New York, then it's us now. We beat California.
Yeah.
Because all the companies are coming here.
Yeah.
Now I didn't realize Microsoft is like in Reston. Amazon is taking over Arlington.
Yeah.
I've had a couple Twitter clients here.
Yeah.
And who am I missing? Meta Facebook is in DC now.
Yeah.
And I'm just
it's a safe place to have business, and so even like, for example, data centers, right? Like that's the classic thing, particularly for Loudoun County.
Yeah.
Because nothing ever happens here. We don't get snow, we don't get hurricanes, we don't get anything.
That's true.
It's super, super safe. FEMA loves Loudoun. Nothing ever happens there, man. So in terms of like at a climate level, like that's why you can have all these businesses want to come here. Now, also you're near DC, and so that's also really nice. And you're also on the coast, so that's also good.
Close to the beaches.
Right. So and also just commerce, right? So. It's a great place to be in and a great place to live in. The thing is, I think there might be a misconception about why this place being expensive, and people will then conflate the idea that it's expensive for everyone for everything, and that's not really the case. So that. Just because, for example, in Loudoun County, I think the average, the household median, median income, I think is like $147,000 or something like that. It's high. It's a high number.
That's high.
That's very high.
It's not low.
That is not low at all. But not every household that needs is making that amount.
True.
And not every household needs to make that amount to have a comfortable living in Loudoun County.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So if only rich people can live in expensive places, then every expensive city then would literally have like 5 neighborhoods and the rest would be all ghettos, because no one would afford. But that's not the case. So just because a place is expensive doesn't mean that only rich people can live there. And in fact, there's a reason why I live here and I stay here. Because this is where the best opportunities are for me, for my family, and for my kids.
Yeah.
That's why I stay. So look, man, you could go to Wisconsin and or Missouri or whatever, and that's great. But are you gonna have tell me which school district in Wisconsin has a fiscal budget of $1.4 billion?
I have no clue.
I don't know any of them.
Yeah.
But we do here. In fact, all of them. I think every school district's budget is $1 billion around here. So
Believe it.
So tell me. So you see what I mean? So like that's why. So when you talk about being expensive like that, that's why.
Yeah.
And that's why all these kids like
Georgetown Prep. We have great schools. Montgomery College is like the #1 in the country for a community college.
Northern Virginia Community College is not bad.
Yeah.
It's great. Like bruh, I mean, you could get a quad. I went to Nova. Look, I am not gonna, it is not a desire of mine to incur
Expenses. Yeah.
college expenses for my kids. Yeah. I got them for myself, so I don't want any more.
Did you get a bachelor's degree?
I got a bachelor's and 2 master's degrees, but let's talk about that. But so I got all that debt that I got that's still hanging over me.
Yeah.
So he's gonna if we're still around here, he's gonna go to Nova. Not because it's a whatever, but look, you go to Nova for 2 years, automatic admission to every state school in Virginia.
Yeah.
And these are not like shabby schools.
They're great.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So why take the hard road when you can take the easy road?
Yeah.
And the easy road is just as good as the hard road. For your first 2 years in college anyway, what the hell are you gonna learn?
It's the general.
It's the same damn shit they look. Yeah. So you might as well do it to take take the scenic route, which is a very good route, and then go to the 4-year school where you actually now can hit the ground running. So but that's what you get. That's if you want that, you gotta have. You got to pay to play.
Yeah.
The cool thing, too, doing financial stuff is, what stops people from paying to play is really just lack of knowledge.
Yes, I agree.
Once you figure that out, once you Denzel, training day, right? This is chess, this ain't checkers, right? Once you figure out the chess, I mean, man, then that's why I say you don't need to make the median income to live in a place that has a high median income.
That makes sense.
You just have to figure out the chess. That's all.
Yeah, I think you hit it nail on the head. Just figuring out your ignorance is going to be the issue of your downfall. That's what I kind of think.
Yeah.
But then the more I think of this like this. So my girlfriend has a 14-year-old. So I try to show her culture by just taking her out to different places to eat. She's Guatemalan, so like she's Hispanic food most of her life. I take her to Asian places. It's not hard. I take her to like some Thai place, and she's like, "Oh wow, I love noodles. I love pho." Like it's not that expensive. Yeah, $10, $15. Take her to a nice place.
Yep.
Now she has a little bit more culture. It's like, oh, now I want to learn more about Vietnamese food. Now I want to learn about Thai food. I'm like, cool. It's the easiest way. Kind of like I went to Montgomery College, community college, before I went to Marine Corps.
Yep.
I also went to the Marine Corps because they were going to send me to San Diego. I got to go to San Diego for free.
Yep.
I got paid to go there.
Yep.
So it's always like it's, what you said earlier, full circle, around being resourceful.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. It's chess. It's not checkers, man. And the thing is that and you bring up a great point about this idea of culture and diversity.
We're very diverse.
This area is very transient for sure, and everything like that. But there's very few places I think where you can have such a kaleidoscope of people, and cultures, which is part of the experience of being in this area now. And the cool thing is that it's not just like, it's not just, the wealthy people in the different, ethnicities. It's people from all socioeconomic strata, and you get to learn their experiences, and you get to learn, about their food, but also the culture, and you get to, hear the languages, and that exposure, man, is you don't, man, start playing sports, man. I tell you, that's where, that's how a lot of how I learned about different people was by playing sports, and my teammates and the teams we played against. You also, that's also part of what you get by being here, and that there's really not a big price tag that you can put on that. It just
I think
really
that's the most valuable thing.
you see what I mean? Yeah, like even for me, I'm a black guy, but I was born and raised in Kenya, so I'm an immigrant. So people see me as like, oh, it's just another no. There's more than this.
More.
And then you and I are friends, and you have your own unique background, and like I just can't see. I'm sure there are other places, but the ease of access to getting to know people from very different backgrounds and experiences, that along and talk about opportunities and why that's why I stay here. These are those opportunities, too. That even in Loudoun County, man, super white, but even there, bro,
still gotta
you can. I mean, it's just so vibrant, man.
Yeah.
We had the Taste of Leesburg 2 weekends ago. Was it 2 weekends ago? I don't know. I think it was last weekend. And I need to find them on Instagram. But the very first a place that I went to, it was so funny. There was one food truck that was Caribbean food.
Okay.
Yeah, plantains, all of that, oxtail and
Oxtail,
you know what I mean? The meat pies, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was super expensive, and
It's worth it. No?
it was not,
Oh, okay.
because right next to that was just a tent. I think it was Mama Fresh. I think it was Mama Fresh. Mama Fresh or Mama Spice. Same cuisine, but it was just a tent. They got the tinfoil things, so I knew that's where I wanted to be.
That
was exactly, and that's where I got. I got a meat pie and some plantains from them.
Yeah.
And bro, imagine in downtown Leesburg, bro, you got this like a Jamaican family.
Yeah. Just making food.
Come on, bro, and I know they made that in their kitchen.
Yeah.
This is ain't no food. That was in their kitchen, but it was, bro. Like, and so you see what I mean. So it doesn't. It really, if you will look, you will find whatever it is that you're looking for.
Yes.
So if you want to find it, just start looking for it. And people, that's why I remember people that I grew up with talk about Loudoun County. Oh man, it's so boring. It's so boring. And it's like, well, what do you want to do? It's like, I want to do this. Well, all the things they wanted to do, they never looked for them. Yeah. They just said, oh, I haven't found it, so it doesn't exist, and that's why I'm bored. I'm like, well, stay bored then.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that I was looking for, I found it. Like, and it was super random, bro. Like, and you never know the stuff that you'll find. Like, I found out that Loudoun County, we get free services to Hoopla and Libby, audiobooks, ebooks. So it's just like a database. Yeah, it's like Audible.
Oh, okay.
So like there's so many books. I'm like, I don't want to buy the actual thing. I want it in an ebook, but I also don't want to spend it, and I just want to read a little bit and see about it. And I just was like, I don't know. And I was like, man, let me just get a library card, because the library is like literally a 10-minute walk from my house. Yeah. So I get the library card, and now all of a sudden, I got the ebooks that I wanted.
Wait, so if you just get a library card, if you're a resident of Leesburg or
of Loudoun
County,
bro, just Loudoun County Public Library, man.
And then you just have access to everything.
Everything, bro. Wow. I think I've read like. And that's one thing I just stopped doing, was reading once I got into real estate, just because of the driving, the hours, this. I stopped reading. But then
got podcasts or audiobooks.
Well, now, and I never did audiobooks before, but because I was like, I don't know this. But now, I think this year now I'm up to I think 25 books that I've read or listened to.
So you don't even need to go to the library; you just go on your app.
Nope. But it's something I wanted.
Yeah.
And I just went out and looked for it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even look hard. I just looked where it was familiar, and then I just explored it. And I found what I was looking for, man.
Yeah.
So you can, if you want it, just go look for it, and if you look hard enough, you'll find it. Mm-hmm. I really love Korean food, and I was like, I just didn't know where to get it. Then out of nowhere, I see I followed the Northern Virginia subreddit, and scrolling through one day, Korean places that like hidden gem Korean places written by a Korean.
Wow. You got it. You found what you were looking for. You got it.
Now I got a whole list of Korean places that I gotta visit. You know what I mean? But again, but you see, man, like I love living here.
Yeah.
I love it. It's like, it's fun. Even this conversation, man, it's like it's just fun to it's a fun place to explore. For sure, it's expensive, man.
Yeah.
But I've lived, after college, I left for 6 years to do grad school, and then also and then also when I started working, and I had it, and even went overseas. And when I had a chance to come back, I came back here.
Yeah.
It was more expensive.
Yeah.
But I still wanted to be here, and the more I'm here, I'm just reminded, this is a great place to be.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think about it too. Like when I was in high school, I did the same thing as you. Like, man, I see all these people in New York having a good time. Like, you could be broke in the Bronx, but then you could be in Manhattan where people making millions of dollars. And I always thought like that's where I wanted to be. And then the more and more I grew up, I realized it's here too.
It's right
Whatever
there,
you want. DC got everything in
Yeah.
life. Moco, you got like suburb life. Leesburg, you guys got like tech.
Yep.
And I'm like, wow, okay, this is great. And I think this is a good turnaround or like full circle moment. Like, what kind of takeaways would you? And I guess this is my favorite question to ask now. Like, for either a younger you or someone who wants to grow up the way that we did or have this kind of same mindset, what kind of advice would you give them?
I would say two things. One, you gotta figure out, you mentioned it earlier, identify what you want, how bad you want it, and how much you're willing to suffer for it.
Yeah.
Identify that. And then second, choose what kind of person you want to show up in the world as. And I learned this from a sports psychologist. I can't remember his name, but he's super, super famous in the UK. He said that there are, I think, 4 types of athletes or competitors.
Yeah.
People that show up just to show up.
Okay.
There are people that show up to compete.
Okay.
And these are people who will show up just clock in, clock out. That's the first one.
Okay.
I did my 8 hours. I'm out.
Yeah.
Don't ask me any more of me, right?
Yeah.
The people to compete, they'll work hard, just so that people don't ask anything more. It's like, okay, they did their stuff. They showed a little effort. Then there are those who show up to win.
Yep.
And these people really, they want to come out on top every time that they show up.
Okay.
Very, very good competitors. And then there are people that show up to dominate.
Kobe, Jordan.
They don't. So for people like Kobe, he always, winning was always guaranteed in his mind.
Bare minimum.
Always guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's not about losing. That's why I never thought about this until I heard this framework that we don't think like them. Like they think they're wired very differently.
It's almost like psychotic.
It is, you really do have to sacrifice a lot to be that kind of a person.
Yeah.
But winning is guaranteed, and that's why they say they hate losing.
Yeah.
Because losing just doesn't compute with them. but that's their mindset.
Yeah.
But they also recognize that losing happens.
Right.
You know, so losing, when they lose, it's like, oh, you know what? It means that something was not right, and I just had to, you know, the famous story of Kobe Bryant, where when I think his first season, where he was, I think, in the playoffs or something like that, and he had 3 game-winning shots, opportunities, missed them all. And after the game, he realized that this year prior, I think he had played like 29 games before he became pro.
Okay.
Now he's a pro. He had just played, I think, like 60 games.
Yeah.
So he just was tired.
Came out of high school. It's different.
You see what I mean? He was, and he's also like just the fatigue.
Yeah.
Like he had no legs. So what did he do? He was like, okay, I just need to get stronger. I just need to get stronger legs.
Yeah.
So I have the energy to focus and make and seize the opportunity when it comes 60 games down the line.
Yeah.
So that's how they understand losing, is like, that should never happen again. And they actually say, you know, I'm going to do the thing that makes sure that never happens again. So that's the competitor who shows up to dominate.
That sounds like Tim Grover, Relentless. Have you heard of that? Mm-mm. That's it was one of Jordan's coaches, Jordan Kobe.
Oh yeah.
That sounds very similar.
Yeah. So that's what I would like. Who do you want to be? Identify which one do you want to be of those 4.
Yeah.
And pick. You know, and this is something I learned just. I mean, really, just like, I think it was like a month or so ago, a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
You know, and because the big story, one of the big stories this summer is, you know, Lionel Messi coming to Inter Miami and coming to the MLS. And one of the things my brothers and I talk about a lot is this guy still celebrates goals.
Yeah.
Think about that. He's won literally everything. Especially because he won the World Cup. So now he literally, he is the greatest. He's the greatest of all time. Okay? But the dude is still celebrating goals.
Yeah.
He's celebrating goals.
Like as a kid.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, why? Cristiano Ronaldo went to Saudi Arabia, and the dude is still celebrating goals too, right? Like, these people are, like, it literally doesn't matter. Messi could be at a church softball team.
Yeah.
And he would still celebrate home runs, because that's just how he's made up. Like, he winning is guaranteed. So even think about it, he just now is like,
it's having fun.
He's now just making sure that everything goes his way.
Yeah.
You know, so I started thinking about that and about my life. Like, what do I want to be? And I also had to have my own come to Jesus moment with that. Is, you know, who do I want? Do I want to show up to win? How do I want to show up? And that's really changed even how I approach my day to day. And so those 2 are the big lessons I would give my younger self very early. I mean, I wish I would have known this stuff when I was, 24 instead of 34.
I completely understand that. Yeah. But you have a son. So
Yeah. So he's going to learn it at 4.
There you go. See, I think that's why too. Like, I think of like the younger age people, like you know, you see on social media where you feel like what's that, like Mr. Beast, blowing up, and he's like, I don't know, he's like under 25.
Yeah.
I think it's just because they had people like us to learn from. Now that we're putting out content, they're like, oh, this is the mistakes that he made. Okay, I'm not gonna make those mistakes.
Yeah.
And they're being a lot more successful at crazy young ages.
Yeah.
So that's dope.
Yeah, but they you can learn from someone's mistakes, but then you also have to learn from your own mistakes.
Yeah.
Just because you learn someone else's mistakes doesn't mean you're not going to make them.
True.
And also, you just have to. You can never talk about the younger generation. Like, you really have to. Don't try to shortcut hard work.
Yes.
And don't try to shortcut hard work for long periods of time. Because Mr. Beast, he's great now.
Yeah.
But don't think that he doesn't have a lot of work to do.
Oh.
When you have millions, when you have millions of dollars that you are responsible for, and brands and corporations and contracts and agreements, like, you have to show up.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you're not abiding by your contractual agreement. Like, that's pressure.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's now like made it and like now he just gets to sit back and like, stroke his balls or whatever. Like, the dude has to always show up every single day to keep that up. So that really is, and with Max, he's 4 years old and everything like that. So there's really, man, he's just doing his thing, and he has a great life, and I love it. But one of the things I do is I try and I'm mindful to teach him to persevere, and then also to remind him of the times that he has persevered and he's learned new things. I had an Instagram post a few days ago about him. I've got a super old Canon Rebel.
Okay.
And one day, I think I had it out for some reason. And anyways, he just like grabbed. He's like, I want it. I want to take pictures or whatever. And my man now, like 3 days later, he knows how to turn it. He's 4 years old. He knows how to turn it on, find the shutter, and what else does he know how to do now? The focus. Yeah. He knows now that the little square, like if the square turns green on something, that's what you're taking a picture of.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't notice, like he took two pictures of the same composition, but he just changed the focal point. Mm-hmm. And so, and I'm like, that's stuff you teach people in classes, in a photography class. And so when he does that, I remind him of like how you took a chance on yourself and you learned something new. Hey son, you remember when you learned how to take pictures with dad's camera? Or hey son, remember when he's now learning how to ride a bike. So, I remember how you learned, you were going down the hill and you learned how to brake and you slowed down and you looked for cars and all that. So I try and just remind him of what the progress he makes in learning and then also in persevering. And so when he has to persevere as he grows up, it's not going to be this foreign concept. It's going to be still hard, but he's going to know that this is just how it goes.
Yeah, they had the progression.
Yeah.
Like, that's just like a great story to end it with.
Yeah.
I think just it's full circle. Everything I've always seen is like a full circle coming back to everything.
Yeah.
But I want to appreciate, or I want to be considerate of your time.
All good, man. All good.
But I appreciate you coming on.
Of course, man.
Hey, thank you.
Right on.